Hello, guys, and welcome to the Phee Smee Network's Night Night with Phee. Glad to have you guys tonight. I appreciate you tuning in anytime you can. And remember to tune in to the Phee Smee Network anytime and every time to see all the replays on all the platforms. Getting ready to go on Spotify and get that library done. I'm excited about that. Mark continues to amaze me, everything that he's doing behind the scenes to get all of this taken care of. Did a phenomenal job on really upgrading the website where you guys can get me some questions that aren't going from one service through my phone to another phone. And now we've got it hooked up to the website. So just keep sending in those questions about theology, anything to do with the coaching theology, His kingdom is coming, terminally ill, or any other questions that you'd like to hit me up with. I'd love to have you tune in to the Phee Smee Network. We've had a big day today. I guess you guys are aware of all the world news. I'm not going to talk about a lot of world news here on Night Night as far as what's going on, because we normally do that on the Phee Smee show with Manly Mark. But if you've been tuning in, you see that I'm continuing ahead of what's going on. Told you President Trump would be elected before he was. And I told you the stock market have a correction. Then I've talked to you about what President Trump had to do with the Planned Parenthood and with as far as the Iranians and their nuclear facilities. I've had a couple of days where I've been congested. I don't know whether that's allergies or not this time of year when the leaves start getting ready to the buds and stuff. I tell you, it's either bugs, buds, I don't have any idea, but my eyes have been watering and my nose has been stopped up. But the National Guard has been deployed in D.C. You guys that have tuned in know that I'm a big fan of the National Guard. I've seen where the National Guard is a huge success in our country, and one of the main reasons that we do stand with Israel in the end and do win. So our first responders, our National Guard, our police, we got to get on those folks' sides. And this is just the one. This is just the first step. I think you'll find out that with many, as much civil unrest that's out there, you've got shootings all over the country, and folks going to Target and getting shot, folks out of coffee shops are getting shot, and folks in Montana bars are getting shot. And you're just going to continue to see that on a daily basis. And the civil unrest, the protesters that are paid, that will continue to be getting larger and larger. You will see the National Guard take over most of the major cities in our country here shortly. And when I say shortly, I don't mean 12 hours, so I don't need to hear in 2 days where you were wrong. But tonight we're going to talk about where there is no vision, the people perish. That's right. Where there is no vision, the people perish. That's Proverbs 29:18. But more importantly, to me, is back in 1998, I just had a real successful deal come through, and I had some people that rented a room at the Hardscrabble Country Club and a banquet, and gave me an award. And with the award came a numbered picture from an artist that had an eagle landing, and it had the Bible verse from Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Now, I only had one son at that time, and so my kids all grew up with that big, you don't want to call it a painting, but it wasn't painted, but it was a print. And so they grew up with that print in the dining room of our home. And now, as the floods happened and we've had to try to get everything done, I've still got pictures all over in the garage that between my mother dying and my brother dying and trying to get 3 houses with a flood when you're supposed to be terminally ill. It's just, I tell you, it's just chaotic. But I still have that print, and I'll show it to you one day. But I didn't know at that time what that print was going to mean to me. Because on June 24th, 2023, I had a vision. And for me to have that print on my wall of my home for all my children to see it all through the years, and then to end up with a vision now that I'm talking and spending my time and energy to coach you during this time for my Lord and Savior. Only reason I'm living, I'm excited, I'm happy, but like I've told my anybody that'll listen, it's just painful joy. It's tough to have great days when you know what's ahead. So we'll get into more of that as we get to the close tonight. But it's very important that you tell people, just give me the first step of faith. Just give me an opportunity, as I'm going to continue to be ahead of them. I'm not going to get too far ahead of them. That would be advantageous to the other team. But I'm always going to stay a little bit ahead, and that's for folks at the Phee Smee Network and the country I live in and the people I love and what my Lord has given me to do, and the reason I'm alive and the reason I was born. So wow, what a life, and I'm very thankful. Thank you for the questions. They ought to be easier now. I've had some people actually say they've sent in questions that I didn't get or I didn't answer. That should be. Mark's really spent a lot of time connecting the phones and getting that taken care of, where we can start having call-in that wouldn't go through the computer, and also to streamline our emails to one place where I'll make sure that I get. So it's you can send them right there. Go to theFeeSmee.com and you'll see the form. You can send in the question, and I'll be glad to see if we can answer it. So thank you guys for sending in the questions, and thank you for tuning in tonight. I guess I should say before I start on the questions that the Europeans had a meeting today. It was a quick conference call. They call it a virtual call. But anyway, they were discussing President Trump and Putin's meeting August, I believe it's later on this week in Alaska. So that's something that it's all in the news. It's not conspiracy. It's whether you go to CNN or Reuters. I challenge you to find out what's going on in Europe, and at the same time that we're having this mess in the United States. So again, I'm thankful that somehow, some way, I got into the newsroom, and I'm sure I clicked a button, but I'm back on the beach now, and I'm telling you, I love this beach. I mean, this is by far the best scenery. I love water. I love the beach. I love night, and I came up with good, bad, night. So many years ago for you, some of you folks that have been out there stealing that. I really don't. Night is one of my favorites, but bad was good also. I used to like that one. But anyway, first question here is, Phee, what drills do you teach for baseball and softball pitching? Aaron in Pennsylvania. Well, Aaron, those are two different or separate motions that are trying to achieve the same event. So we'll take baseball and softball separately, but remember, whether you're pitching in softball or baseball, you're trying to hit a target, and you're trying to do it with a motion and a velocity that the hitter, it either fools him or he can't handle it. Either way, it's to your advantage. If you can hit that target one time at 93, that breaks 6 inches, and the next you can hit that target at 85 that doesn't move, then you're going to make that hitter adjust. And remember, you've only got 0.2 seconds to decide whether you're going to swing. And I know people think that softball is easier because the girls cannot throw it as hard. But what you'll find in softball is the bases are shorter, the pitching mound is shorter, and if you want to equate a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the major leagues or in college, you might get a 66, 68 mile an hour softball in the SEC, but that would equate, because of the distance of the release point to where the catcher is, it would equate right at that 96 to 98 mile an hour. So they've got to have real quick reflexes. If you haven't seen girls softball, you're really missing something. In the last 10 years, girls volleyball and softball have turned a real corner from a sport that only the people that wanted to watch were folks that were involved or had their kids involved or had an interest or vested interest involved. Now it is a spectator sport to where you will tune in and watch. And what Oklahoma girls softball has done for that sport, and Caitlin Clark has done for the basketball sport, you've got to know that it won't be long before you're going to find a superstar in volleyball that will transform that sport, because that is an amazing from an angle standpoint, an athletic standpoint. You've got a lot. Matter of fact, I've told a lot of folks where I live that volleyball has killed girls basketball at one school in my town because there ain't any of them that are tall playing anymore. They're all playing volleyball. They've got a phenomenal travel program in this area for volleyball. So, as far as the pitching, let's take baseball first. Fundamentals is you want to go to what we call the first step is the start. And the start, there is a pitching rubber on the ground. The pitcher, you have to teach him to wind up or to go from the stretch. If you're going to go with bases on people on base, you've got to pitch differently than if no one's on base. Now you'll see some relievers or some closers that will stay as if there's someone on base all the time. And there's the reasons for that is because they normally don't come in the game without people on base. So they won't have two separate ones. They'll only pitch, their start will only be one no matter what the situation is. But that back anchor foot, based on whether you're a left-hander or a right-hander, remember you're going to have an open loop. Once that ball touches the glove and connects that loop, if you pull it out and put it back in, that's a balk. So you have to teach from the start, you want the ball either inside the glove, because when you bring it out, you're not putting it back in there. Or you can start from behind the glove. So they'll look at it, they'll make their pitch, they'll move how they're going to hold it, what pitch is called. And then what you've got to do is once they release that loop, the hitter knows that he's got to gear up at that point. He's got what they call load. So the first step of a pitching drill is to make sure that they're balanced. All your pitchers, baseball or softball, they have huge muscles in their butts and their upper legs, their hamstrings, their quads. You know, whether they're 5'8" or whether they're 6'10", those legs, that butt, and those hips, those thighs, hamstrings, quads, they are the power that you're getting from that pitcher. Now, once you have a start, you're then going to release the loop, and you're going to go into what they call a curl. And now, if you are from the windup, you don't want to release that loop until you have curled, right or left. And a curling means you're going to take your glove shoulder, and you're going to point it. And you're going to curl your pitching arm or your throwing arm behind you. Then you're going to release that loop. Now, a lot of young coaches, they teach what they call a cobra. It's just a drill for young pitchers to be able to release that loop and get that ball back. Some people want to, I used to tell them reach high to the sky bullseye when I was teaching it. But you're trying to get out of that loop into that curl. Now, from the curl, what you're looking at as the release, you've got to change a bunch of energy from your front shoulder to your back shoulder, from your hips that are curled, and you're popping those hips at the same time you're popping those shoulders and pushing with those hips and legs. Remember, you're about 12 inches above the plate on a mound. So you want to push or pull down in that area. And so when you release the loop, you then are going to curl, and you're going to transfer that energy with your hips and your arms until you have that release point. Now, a lot of pitching coaches will teach a same slot rotation of a slot release point, but you'll see a lot of effective pitchers that will change the angle of their pitch, the angle of the slot of where they release that ball, based on how they're holding with the velocity or the spin rate to it. What they're trying to do, much like a bowling, if you've ever been bowling and look at the airs and the pins, it's not where the ball goes across the air, it's where it gets to the pin where it hits. So that point of where that catcher's catching that ball, that's the target. And how it gets there, that's the deception, whether it's the slider, the curveball, the changeup, or he's trying to blow it right by you with a fastball. Then you have two types of different fastballs. So that is your drills as far as what the mechanics is, as far as pitching. Once that you release that ball from whatever slot and pull down with your hands touching the ground, then the foot that's on the rubber, when you push off for that landing, as you pull down, that back foot should come off that rubber up in the air. So when it comes up in the air, you're going to land it in a fielding position. And so that is the mechanics and the drills for baseball. Now, softball, instead of having that curl, you're going to have what I call a twirl, and that's a wind up of that pitch. You still have the release point, the releasing of the loop. You still have the transfer of energy. But it's an upward motion of rotation. Does not hurt the tendons to have young girls rotating at that angle to put spin rates on the balls. Some baseball coaches they want to win now, and they'll crush a really good pitcher's arm at 13, 14, 15 with a bunch of junk because those tendons aren't developed in the shoulder and the elbow. So that's again. If you're doing that, you're winning for the wrong reasons, because what you're trying to do is develop kids. Nobody cares what you did when you were in the third grade. You're trying to build to where it matters when it does count. We need to practice at game speed when it's game time. And folks, I'm telling you, game time's approaching. Game time's approaching. So we need to start paying attention, and we need to start having some faith that these things that I'm telling you about, that I have been telling you about, or continue to tell you about, are going to continue to happen. And that's why I'm here, and I appreciate that. Again, with the softball, you've got that twirl, that release point with the rotation and the way they move. See, they don't have to worry about a standing or a fielding position because they're not bent over near as much. But what you'll see is those shoulders and those hips of those softball girls, they are tremendous athletes with unbelievable power, but they can hit the target pretty much wherever they want to. And a good pitching coach, that's what he's going to make sure that he tells them, this is the most important. You have to throw the ball where you want to. And when they miss, they normally get in trouble. And you can tell a pitcher very shortly if you know what you're doing, whether he has it that day or not, because he's either releasing it a little high or a little low. And I'm not talking about 6 inches. I'm talking about a quarter of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. These folks know what they're doing. But if they're not on, if they're a half of an inch outside, or they're an inch and a half outside, or they just look like they're left, right, up, down, it's like I tell my students, you can be short or you can be long. But if you're left or right, you're doing something wrong. And if he's consistently missing that target in all directions, he doesn't have it. And the same thing with the softball pitchers. You'll find that softball pitchers, the ones who, you'll find it in baseball too, but more so in softball, a dominant pitcher will get you a long ways, especially when you're in the youth. They'll let you pitch all day, every day, and if you got one pitcher that's better than anybody else, you'd win 1-0 several times, and people do. But I love softball, and of course baseball is my favorite sport as far as I was best at. I love to play basketball more, and as a young man, boy, I like to play football more. I always still like watching football better. But those are you need flexibility, you need band work, you need to be very fluid if you're going to pitch. And it's I love coaching pitching. And I have boys, they could always throw strikes, but my father, he'd put a Kent cigarette in his mouth with 8 balls, and he'd throw bat and practice as fast as he could, better than a pitching machine. And he just didn't understand why anybody couldn't throw it where they wanted to. And all my friends, he was always a super nice coach to them. Not so much for Phee. He was very patient with Fee's teammates, but he wasn't very patient with me. So he tended to, if I missed the ball, he tended to hit it as hard as he could until I caught it 3 or 4 times in a row. And that wasn't fun compared to, somebody else misses. That's all right, get this and get your head down, moving that. That just wasn't the case on my snap. So he told me after he quit coaching me, he said, I want you to let you know that I know I was very rough on you. And but that was because I never wanted anybody else to say that that he was what was the word? He was giving me special favor. That's not the word, but favoritism is not the word anyway. But anyway, he kept saying that, I just wanted people. I wanted to treat you in a way that nobody would ever think that I was giving you special attention or special privileges. And so I understood that then. I didn't understand it while I was going through it, but I did understand it after that. So thank you for that call, and I do for the call. Thank you for that email. I'm always ahead. My mind's always working faster than my mouth, so that's hard to do. It's very difficult, but I can do it. So anyway, thank you for the question about the drills of baseball and softball pitching, Aaron in Pennsylvania. Next question. Will the 144,000 of the Jews that go through the fire be immortal or mortal during Jesus' millennium reign? Don from Hatfield. That's a great question, Don, or is it Dan? Don, I would tell you that both will definitely that some will be immortals and some will be mortals. If they are, remember, you're fixing to go through the greatest evangelistic movement in the world's ever seen. You're going to have all kinds of chaos, all kinds of war, all kinds of death. And what happens to that is people come to Jesus. But in Jerusalem, you're going to find there's going to be a whole lot of Jews saved during that 3.5-year tribulation. If they're saved before the rapture, they're being, in a twinkling of an eye, they're immediately immortal. They've gone through that dimension that only my Lord is going to be able to do and get their rewards. Now, if he goes and stands on the Mount of Olives after we've got our rewards and come back as immortals in a different than a physical plane, then when he splits the Mount of Olives, in several different places, there's going to be Jews there, and when they accept him, when he shows them the marks in his hands, and they're going to accept him, and they're going to go through the 1,000-year millennial reign as mortals, and they will go through that, and of course I would tell you that they'll live a mortal life, and I can't tell you how long they live, and I can't tell you what the age of accountability is. Some people think it's 17, some people think it's 19, some people think that children that are after Jesus sets up his millennium kingdom, that on this earth, that people will continue to live, die just as normal as they are now with a normal life cycle. So Jesus' 1,000-year millennium reign is something that I just want to. I don't know my role in that. I know my role in this, but I know we'll have roles. I don't know what they'll be, and I don't know in what dimension or realm that they would be in. These people that have all these, of course, I just started this since June 24th of 2023, trying to learn about these different sandboxes of what's going on out there. But there's a lot of people that think that there's 12 heavens or 12 dimensions, and they're smarter than I am if that's the case, because I can't prove more than 7. And it's like I said on one of my early podcasts when we just got started. I know there's 7, but I don't. You got quantum physics now. They're talking about 37 dimensions in one, with just one photon. That's out. They've been trying to do a lot of that since the late 70s and 80s, and unless this AI has just made another huge leap in what I think is a lot of it's nonsense, and a lot of it's real. But Jesus, when he comes, he's going to transfigure that physical body into that spiritual, immortal being very quick. But I've often wondered, since in the last year and a half, what role do we play in the Battle of Armageddon? Are we fighting demons and war? Because we wouldn't be fighting Russia or Persia, that was old Iran. These prophecy teachers they don't want to recognize some of these real life events. They still fighting about what happened in 800 BC and 70 and 90 AD, and they're fighting over. They just don't realize that over today in Germany, they're having virtual calls, but what I would say conference calls, and it's the same parties, and they're going to propose this 2-state solution. And the very interesting thing, you have to realize that if Putin and Trump make a deal in Alaska and it doesn't make Ukraine or all of Europe happy, you got problems. If Trump and Putin don't make a deal, and as Putin says today, the Leopards, that's Germany, the Leopard tanks that are fighting against us, he's well aware. He talked about the East German, the West German, Berlin, the wall coming down. But if you look at the map and see how much that Russia in the last 5 years has taken of Ukraine, which is just looks like a Mississippi River on the map, just on the western front of there. But there's going to be some land swapping or some territory. There's going to be some real interesting things come out of this, or nothing will come out of it, see? And then things will shift. But you're going through one of those times that I was talking about the other night from a question, 3 types of time. You're fixing to go through one of those shifts of time, that kairos. So that's a major. This September United Nations is a major event. But anyway, the Jews, you'll have both. I think if they're saved before the rapture, or they're transfigured and immortal. If they're saved when my Lord puts his feet on the mountain or Mount of Olives, and they accept him at that point, they will go through that time of setting up the kingdom as mortals, humans, and that's what is biblical. That's what I'm going to talk about. I think it's Romans 11. I think you could probably. I didn't look it up. I didn't have a lot of time tonight to attach, but I was more into world news. So I probably spent most of my time over, in the world news. So let's see if I can go anywhere. Yeah. Okay, next question, Phee. And I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question, Don, but I think both will. Some will be immortal, and some will be mortal. based on when they accept Him, my Lord Jesus Christ. Next question. Phee, global warming is real. Wake up, mister. I don't have any degrees on the things I'm teaching. Glenn from Kentucky. I got a kick out of that the first time I read it, Glenn. That's very creative. Thank you. You know, I did one of my advertisements and promotions was to tell them all the degrees I don't have, because when I get through, my goal is to outperform all the people that do have all of them, of those degrees in every one of those fields. So that's the reason that's funny to me, because that's exactly what I wanted when I thought of it, and it was a disclaimer, just like Big Pharma. You know, when the guy's flying the kite and they're having the picnic, and what they're telling you at the bottom of the screen and saying real fast is how many different ways this drug can kill you. You know, immediate death, heart attack, convulsions, bleeding from the rectum. Like, it just goes right on, and he's steady flying the kite and eating fried chicken at the picnic table. So I get that's my Big Pharma disclaimer. So on my terminally ill, how can I be giving medical advice when I don't have I'm just out here, you know, podcasting, information, entertainment only, baby. You know, that's all this is. So, you know, no degrees of anything. So, anyway, Phee, global warming is real. Wake up, mister. I don't have any degrees on the things I'm teaching. Glenn from Kentucky. Well, Glenn, you're as misled as 90% of the people out here that think that climate change, global warming, is going to have any effect on you 800 years from now. There's been climate shifts since the beginning of time. You're not having any global warming. And let's just tell the truth. How many dinosaurs was on the earth? Because they've been calling this fossil fuel for so long, and they got a problem with fossil fuel. And you got people in Greenpeace killing folks for taking heating oil to their families out in Indonesia and different countries because you don't believe in fossil fuel. Now, who's the terrorist there? I mean, some of you people with this, you know, the King of England is not on my top 10 list. When Hamas goes in there and mutilates children and mothers, and he says, well, you know, I think we need to worry about Greenpeace. That tells me where the lion stands right there. And I'm just glad that he's over there, because that's the biggest. The United Nations Sustainable Goals will manipulate and do anything. Hey, let me just tell you this: global warming, the Earth has actually cooled down a couple of years. I don't care what they tell you, manipulating the numbers as they tend to do, and then when they revise them, nobody even gets access to the revision, or people don't care. So. But climate changes, yes, they're real. And by the way, weather manipulation is real too. But don't be worried about fossil fuels. Again, you can run a car with the windshield. You can run office buildings with glass windows. You can do it with a perpetual motion energy technology. You can do it with water. You can do it with corn. You can do it with hydrogen. I don't understand why you're talking about running all of these things on separate. I mean, the reason you have fossil fuels is because they have the market share and they're in everything. They just don't put gas in the car. Every time you see a plastic bottle, just think about a fossil fuel. And every time you look at high fructose corn syrup that's been killing millions of people, just think of one little element away from crude oil. Again, I guess oil is oil, whether it's olive or crude, whether it's canola or coconut. I don't get it. But as far as the United Nations will redistribute the wealth, that is the key. That is one of the things. You've got a very select few of people that are going to be running all of this monetary and all this money, and they're going to be able to control a lot of the propaganda. And you've got the United Nations. What they're trying to do is exactly what this guy. They have got Glenn from Kentucky. They have showed him data and radar and heat seeking from thousands of years, and they've compared to this. He don't have any idea. He doesn't have any idea what they're showing him. That's the same thing when NASA comes on and gives everybody a briefing, all the reporters in the room. And they've already given questions to 3 or 4 of their reporter friends to make them look good to ask the questions. See, I don't have any rehearsal here, or I'd be a whole lot better. I don't do a lot of editing afterwards. I told Mark we got to start editing because I said to Israel 4 times, I meant Jerusalem. Those are the kind of things that if we were cleaning all this up and had a huge staff, which I'm fixing to double it, but I'm not going to have 20, then we'll clean it up and make it look a lot better. But we're not. We're just doing the best we can, and we're getting out the content. We can clean it up. I hope they can fact check me, because I'll be glad to tell them, yeah, I missed this. I meant to say this. So I'll be glad to. I'll stand right up and tell them, yeah, I messed that up. But I talked an hour and 20 minutes, and I said 5 things I shouldn't have said because I was thinking about something else ahead of time. So there is no global warming, which you think is real. It's a United Nations made-up propaganda is what it is. Weather manipulation is real, as they had a 6.1 earthquake in Turkey today. I don't know. Is it just me, or are we having earthquakes and tsunamis? And of course, I like the California governor. What he said: if Texas does their redistricting, California will just redistrict every other seat, and we'll just fight fire with fire. And I thought, wow, that's a poor choice of words. You didn't have any water when there was fire burning down L.A., and you're going to fight fire with fire? How about fighting fire with water? Get out of here. He just took a whole bunch of real estate right before the Olympics and just eliminated it, and now he's going to put in his 15-minute cities, multi-family dwelling too. Just right before your eyes. Didn't have any water to put the fires out. Had a reservoir empty. I just don't. How do people? Hey, we're gonna replace all these huge mansions with 15-minute cities. Let's set these things on fire and burn all of them as a wildfire before the Olympics, while we can go back and have time to build them while the Olympics are here. See, there's the difference in pre-vision Phee and post-vision Phee with Mark, and I don't know which one's more comfortable about all of it, because the more I see and the more I've been involved in the last 2 years and 2 months now, it's just deception. And my Lord just showed me it's deception. It's deception, and I just keep rattling them back. And I'm just blessed and thankful that I've been working. Because it's really opened my eyes to a whole lot of things that I wouldn't have been thinking about before. But Glenn, you might think that global warming's real. You might think I'm a knucklehead, but just tune in, brother. I'd love to have you. I hope one of these days you'll be a Phee bird, and we'll get you some Phee bird merchandise. Try to win you over, and we got to have a bunch of Phee birds out there before this is over with, and we got to be able to take care of each other and rely. You'll have a lot of masses, a lot of protesters, a lot of, remember, 50-50. 50-50. I know you're going to say, no, Trump won 51.8 to Harris's 48.1. Okay, I'll give you that. But there's 15 million homeless that didn't vote. And there's 100 million people that didn't vote. So of those 115 million, which side do you think they're on when they start getting things, getting a reason to be unhappy about anything, gathering up in a team, a real posse, a real mob, and decide that they're just going to get what they want when they want it? Our National Guard's up to the task. This is just one of many. I've seen them all over the country. Just say thank you. Thank you to the National Guard. Thank you for the people that live in this country. That's kids and family and mothers. They live in this country. They have jobs in this country.
I'm here to tell you, just watch. I think we're going to be in good hands before it's over. I have seen it. So thank you for your question, Glenn. I do appreciate that. By the way, you're not being mean to Phee compared to some of these folks. So you'll be fine. But your global warming is complete, utter deception. Okay? And let them show you the graphs of the 2,000-year-old climate change. Now, we'll go to the next question. Next question is, Phee, what are your thoughts on Neuralinks? Pam from Nebraska. Well, Neuralinks, Pam, is one of my greatest fears, and one of the most wonderful advances in medical technology. So you've got the best of both worlds. You want to talk about a hypocrite? You're talking about 86 billion electrons are in your brain, and 10,000 with each of them have 10,000 receptors. You isolate them, then you allow the paralysis or the blind or the amputee of one leg to be able to think and move, think and see, think and write, think and draw. It's impressive, and just ought to show you that genetically engineering with stem cells and exons and different delivery methods is easily obtainable, doing about the same type, different highways, different roads, but you can think about it this way. You can have the all-natural solution, or you can have the electronic solution. So what they can do when they get that in there, what features it might have that they aren't even aware of from the manufacturer, I don't know. I know you're dealing with some serious area of a manipulation of the human mind, and I'm all for helping people see, and I'm all here for people helping people hear, and I'm all for people having people walk and move their arms if they're amputees, and the robotics, and I'm all for that. There's no question if they can build these companions and all these robots, and China just opened the first mall with every employee being a robot just last week. So every one of them a robot in the mall. If they can do that, they can certainly do your Neuralinks. They can. I mean, they're building a dadgum person, a human being, with everything except DNA now, and these masks and the artificial limbs is what you might call them, but they're much more advanced than that. They're human skin. You couldn't tell the difference in my arm and their arm, and that's the deception and the danger in Neuralinks. But yes, they're gonna cure a lot of diseases, and they're gonna utilize Neuralinks. And I think at first, as again, I'm talking out the side of my neck, I don't think they're going to be causing a lot of problems at first. I think the way to do that is really show a test market and show great success, and then have people do it, and then show great success, and then have the masses do it. And at that point, there might be a little altercation in the 1.0 and the 2.0 edition of that feature. I think that's a better way to say it. I'm all for technology and science and to save lives. And you say, well, Phee, why is that so important to you? Because you think that my Lord is going to come and we're going to be raptured out of here. So why should that be important to you? I started this in 2022, and my Lord told me to go to work. That prophecy never entered my mind. It's the second coming never entered my mind. I started having a love relationship just trying to get closer to my Lord and learning and about these diseases and the technology out there. So I'm going to continue to do that because I don't know the time. And if I can, especially before World War III, I've got one that'll save millions and millions of lives, and I don't have time to go through the FDA with it. And I haven't been able to tell you folks about it because if I file it, then I've got problems. So I've got the solution for that, but I'm not prepared yet for it. So I wish I was. I wish I'd have been prepared for it a month ago, but I'm not. And we've got to get that done. If we can get that done before World War III, then we'll have a timetable. You're going to know pretty quick if they say, they're either going to sign this two-state solution or everybody's going to propose it and they're going to start World War III before they sign it. And I'm on record for saying they ain't going to sign it, but something will happen to start World War III. I just don't believe we only have 7 years left. If we do, that's pretty easy if they have those biblical characteristics. But I think you got World War III that will then bring a man in power and peace after the death of 1/3 of mankind. And I think that's the way you bring him to power. But hey, like I say, I'm not going to be. That's my opinion. That's not my vision. If they sign a 7-year peace plan, that'll be great too. We'll adjust at that point. But if they don't, I'm going to keep on trying to solve. I mean, there's people out there hurting. People just like me wasn't supposed to be here, folks. I mean, let's just tell the truth. I mean, if they tell you got a year to live, don't you think I ought to do the best I can to get this done and to be able to help? And that's what my Terminally Ill podcast is all about. Is the healing power of Jesus Christ to get them in that faith and let them know that the gifts of the Spirit that my Lord can heal them in a second. But he can start to he can do it through several different ways. He can do it through medicine. He can do it through surgery. But he can just bam. I mean, he can just make you a new liver. He can just make you a new arm or leg. He's folks with club feet walk in there and they walked in their whole lives and walk out of there walking without anything. I mean, the miracles and the power that my Lord Jesus Christ has on it. It didn't go away at the day of Pentecost. It's just a lack of faith on our part and a misplaced place in doctors and pharmacy and medicine. But that's neither here nor there. I got a text saying I was not on the beach. I looked up, I was on the beach, so that was a while back when I got the text. But anyway, Neuralinks, mind control, hypnosis, mental conditioning, psychiatrists, psychologists. I love the abnormal psych. Just all the math and science of what they tell you they can do, they can do. They can do that. They can also do a lot of bad things and a lot of negative things. So that's not something I wanted to get into when I was younger, that I had the opportunity to get into in my teens, and I just didn't want to do it. And now I still kind of shy away from it. But it can be the most awesome thing for a family. Just think. Someone being able to see or be able to walk or be able to draw a picture, type a book, just say it and it writes up there, and now they can actually use their fingers and their mind just tells their fingers, and it just kind of programs them like AI, if that makes sense to you. I guess the best thing I could do to explain it to you on a level that most folks would get is I went to 2 different Neuralink companies, not to be able to tell you specifically from a scientific how they can do it, but how they would market it to you. So this is one of them. And this is a nationally acclaimed physio-neural therapy program designed to help those suffering from processing disorders, physioneurotherapy was introduced, and it educated the world in 1988, assisting those academically struggling, socially struggling, and behaviorally struggling with the likes of ADHD, dyslexia, and the lack of focus. Although tutoring and other therapies may help those struggling academically, the results are rarely long-lasting. These methods merely treat the symptoms, providing a band-aid solution. They don't focus on the underlying causes of an individual's processing disorder. Neuralinks, on the other hand, provides a long-term cure by rewiring the brain and creating necessary pathways for processing academic, social, emotional, and behavioral cues. So from there is your marketing standpoint, your well-written, from a scientific and an emotional standpoint, what they're going to try to tell you. All of those things sound tremendous to me, and yes, they can do it. There's no question about that. Furthermore, those struggling usually have problems with more than one brain process and require assistance with multiple neurological areas. Physioneurotherapy is unique in that it treats all processing difficulties at once rather than focusing on the one disorder. This ensures that the results of the program are not only all-encompassing, but permanent too. That's a tremendous marketing right there of what they're trying to accomplish and telling you what they can accomplish, and I'm telling you that they can accomplish it. Now, whether that certain company or that certain therapy is good, bad, or indifferent, I don't speak for that, but I can tell you that that's real stuff. So, and they did not say it so scientific or academically. All of them are learned academians. There's not any creative intellectuals among them. They're dead. Do the formula and figure it out, and they've done it. And now it's marketing, and I think they did a good job on the marketing explaining of that. This is another one, and it says building brain interfaces to restore. Our brain-computer interface translates neural signals into actions. In our clinical trials, people are using Neuralink devices to control computers and robotic arms with their thoughts. This technology will restore autonomy to those with unmet medical needs and unlock new dimensions of human potential. So there is your marketing of another Neuralink company. Neuralink's real. I would have told you that 5 years ago that they'd had it for at least 5 years. So I don't think it. I think you're now seeing it. What these people like to do, they like to do these things in these labs, and then they like to. Once it's done, that's just a skeleton. See, they're so proud of it, but that's just a skeleton. They've got to get everything interfaced and to be able to roll out, and they've got to get culture ready to buy it. So there's a shift there, and then they start adding to. It goes from Apple 1 to Apple 19, but they had the skeleton then, okay? So they just adding to at this point. And so once they get it and they start talking about it, once it comes out of the basement to the ground floor, and then after about the second floor, people start hearing about it. Because they printing the money down here in the basement, and then the ground floor folks are the face, and then they got to go out and get these. And by the time they get to that third level, people are believers in what they're doing. But their profit's built in at that point. So you're now hearing about it for at least 3 years. You've been hearing about Neuralinks. And I know there's, in Europe, I know there's 2 different companies that have been experimenting with them for several years. And for what purposes, whether that's military or whether that's intelligence, I don't play in those private contractor and those sandboxes. I wouldn't do that. You're either in that game or out that game, and You don't survive long if you're out of it. So I never would go in that sandbox, and still to this point have not. So what it's for, I don't know. But they were definitely testing it many years ago. But now you've heard about it. Now it's test market. Now they're showing the folks that are actually, their lives have been changed by it. You're going to see a lot of success in all these areas. And with all good things, men tend to have a way to turn them into bad things along the way. So thanks for that question, and I do appreciate it tonight. You know, that when my Lord gave me my vision on June the 24th, 2023, I never thought about that print in my dining room. Never thought about that eagle, and now when I think about it, it gives me chill bumps. And did my Lord give it to me as a reminder, a foreshadowing, just something to be able to just, maybe just joking with me or smiling at me? Those are the type of things that, I'd be talking to my angels. I'd be telling them, man, y'all trying to mess with Phee now, You're going to give me a dadgum print in 1998. When there is no vision, people perish. That's exactly what I'm here for, folks. I've had a vision, and I don't want you to perish. I want you to stay tuned to the Phee Smee Network. I want you to get on God's side. I want you to accept my Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. I want you to believe what Phee Smee is telling you, and you can watch me 24/7. We're just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's not about me. I can assure you I'd have been dead a long time ago. It's about my purpose here is to make sure that we document all that we can document and help as many people as we can help, because the end game, the goal here, folks, is for us to score and win. And the way we do that is we bring as many people as we can to Christ. We protect our families and loved ones. We're proud of our country. This is a time for patriotism. We really need to get fired up. We're going to fight a lot of folks that just don't. They're in our country, but they don't lie. They don't like our country. They don't love our country. They're here, and they're not pro-America. So those folks need to go. I told them on our first podcast that whether it was His kingdom coming, I believe if you don't love America, you need to get out of America, because this is a country now that we're gonna be in these last days just like we were in World War I and World War II. And if our government would allow us to win Vietnam, we would have, but we shouldn't have been there, and that's the truth. So the world hadn't looked at us the same since then, and now the world is fixing to look at us a whole different way, because it's going to be us and Israel and Jordan. Sooner or later, you guys are going to believe me. You're going to see all these folks line up, and there's got to be a whole lot of things happen before that happens. So wake up one day, and the world will have changed. And I just, I don't know if that's 3 years from now or 3 hours from now. So all I can tell you is we're preparing, and I don't think my Lord would give me a vision and not give me the time to execute it. So we're always ahead of them. Just a little while, not too far, but just a little while. And that's the way we're going to stay here at the Phee Smee Network. So you guys, thank you for tuning in. Remember, no matter what you're doing, you're worth it. No matter what you're doing, you're missing something. So let's make what we're doing worth what we're missing. Night, night.